Hello and welcome to the third annual MIDD Plus Scientific Conference. Thank you so much for joining us today. Over the next 2 days, we look forward to delivering inspiring and energizing content guiding you from discovery through preclinical, clinical, post-approval phases of the pharmaceutical drug development process. This year, we are super excited to introduce the model-informed compound development track for those of you who are in the chemical, agrochemical, or cosmetic space. We'll hear from speakers at the US FDA or at the US EPA, Unilever, and more. All sessions are being recorded and will be available for playback. So if you missed anything, don't worry. If you need to grab a cup of coffee or take a meeting, you can come back to the lobby, go to your regular sessions, and you'll be able to see on-demand replays. Now, a few more notes about the platform. Right now, you're in the main stage, and this is where we'll host the MIDD Awards later on this afternoon, and tomorrow the Women in Science session. So to navigate here, you'll just go to the left-hand side of your panel and look for the main stage. Next, in the lobby, that's where you'll find the conference agenda, all of the sessions, speaker profiles. You'll be able to find our social feed and make sure you check that often because we'll be dropping some promo codes for upcoming workshops. And you'll also find information in our sponsors tab on our global partners and products. Now, to find talks like the update on the MIDD program within the FDA or an introduction to complement sim, please navigate to the left-hand side of your control panel and select the regular sessions. Here you can filter by speakers like Brett Howell, who's joining me today, or you can feature tracks, discovery, preclinical, clinical. Now, while in these sessions, you can communicate using the chat panel, you can respond to poll questions and participate in the live Q&A sessions. And you'll find that section on the right-hand side of your control panel. Now, in the time of continually changing environments, we aim to create a space for open dialogue and for you to share your experiences with us as we share and our speakers will share their real-world experiences with you. We look forward to sparking new ideas, and your participation and feedback is a part of that. Now, if you need any help, consider me your personal concierge. Drop me a chat at Arlene Padron, and I'm happy to assist you. I'm going to hand things over now to Brett Howell. Brett, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Arlene, so much. As Arlene said, my name is Brett Howell, and I lead the DILIsym Services division of Simulations Plus. And I really have two main objectives today in the short time that we have together. The first is just to welcome everyone to MIDD 2023 on behalf of Simulations Plus and just say a few words about Simulations Plus and why we're interested in hosting such a conference. We as a company have an emphasis on really two broad areas, software and services, as many of you know. And within those areas, we focus on pharmacometric services, physiologically based pharmacokinetics and biopharmaceutics, and also quantitative systems or disease modeling. So we have multiple areas within the company where we offer flagship products like GastroPlus and AdMet Predictor and our Monolix suite of tools. But also we have a battery of experts who know not only the tools and the methods, but also the regulatory pathways involved to get those tools into the right places to have an impact. And so, obviously, with that overview, modeling and simulation is near and dear to our heart. And so we wanted to and have now sponsored this conference for a number of years to really, just drive forward modeling and simulation as a science and make available a lot of these great talks and sessions when, a number of folks aren't able to travel as well. So, my main task today, besides the welcome, is also to sort of get us all into the mindset of answering the question of why do we care about model-informed drug development? Why are we here? Why is this conference something that should take our attention? And so with that, I'm going to share just a few slides and try to answer that question for us, and really more than anything, just get us excited about the conference over the next couple of days. And so, the relevant question is why modeling and simulation, why model-informed drug development in 2023? And, as we think about this, first, in a broad sense, one of the critical reasons why this is so important to us and to us as a scientific and modeling community is because it matters to regulators, and also, not just regulators in general, but here we see an example of how it matters to the Food and Drug Administration particularly. So they have this model informed drug development program that many of you are aware of, where for some time now, the FDA, as an example, has offered a very specific set aside meeting times with very specific experts because they believe model informed drug development is important. It creates efficiency, it creates opportunity to accelerate programs, and it creates economic efficiencies, and it helps patients. And so I think by extension of this being a regulatory program, and there are other similar programs abroad as well, I think by extension we can say that we as a public, we have embraced model informed drug development as the future. And so this is a really great motivation for us to dive into many of these sessions today and know that we're going to have an impact going forward. Another big, driver for us as we think about the sessions and the talks we'll hear over the next couple of days is economic. I think we're all aware of some of the economic challenges that we're facing globally right now, and those economic challenges in terms of inflation and pullback on investment and some of those things really impact drug development and clinical trials in a big way. And this is an example of an article where some of the things that were pointed out, a very recent article, or things like, hey, before we start shutting down projects or programs, let's look for opportunities to drive efficiency within our projects. Well, where do we, modeling and simulation is at the heart of driving efficiency. So that's an opportunity for us in this field of model informed drug development to have a big economic impact and create an even stronger foothold within this industry. In addition to that, there's also a statement in the article pointing out that over the long haul, the general opportunities in research in artificial intelligence and in risk-based analytics, are going to be the future. And so this represents, a turning point really for us, where we can make model-informed drug development the standard rather than the exception. So it's an exciting time, both from a regulatory and pathway perspective, but also from an economic perspective. Now, as I said, at Simulations Plus, we have an emphasis on ADMET and cheminformatics, PBPK and PBBM, physiologically based modeling, disease modeling, as well as pharmacometrics. And let's not forget our regulatory interactions. And so I thought we could look at some of the motivations and some of the key happenings and things that drive our interest in this conference within some of these areas. So first, in the area of pharmacometrics, where for us, it's really about our excellent services division, Cognigen, focusing on pharmacometrics and clinical pharmacology, as well as our state-of-the-art Monolix software platform and tools focused on POP-PK modeling and other applications. Within this space for us, Project Optimus is a big key motivator. And, this is, I think most of you are familiar with this. If not, this is a major undertaking and sort of movement for us in the field of oncology to look for the right dose as early as possible in the development program. And so in that way, really try to balance the benefit with the risk for the patient as quickly and as early as possible by using some of these model-informed drug development techniques and capabilities that we have built up now for 20, 30, 40 years. And so Project Optimus is a huge undertaking and a big move and push for the field of pharmacometrics. And in fact, we hosted a webinar this past year where we had the highest attendance of any webinar we've ever had, where some of our experts, as well as some others from external organizations, joined. And we can just really see a lot of interest in Project Optimus. And so you're going to see some great talks today in the clinical track focused on Project Optimus. If that's of interest to you, check out that track, check out some of those speakers. Really excellent stuff there. When we start to think about and shift over into the physiologically based world, so here we're talking about physiologically based pharmacokinetics, but also biopharmaceutics. And of course, for us, that means tools like GastroPlus, Membrane Plus, DDD Plus, ADMET Predictor. It means PBPK and BM consulting services and model construction. But it also means, and one of the newer things we have now is regulatory consulting and guidance at all aspects of PBPK. And so in this field, what's really exciting is this field is just absolutely exploding on really on all sides. We could talk about this for days, but I think I just want to highlight a few interesting data points. So this is a publication that's pretty recent showing the number of publications within the field of PBPK per year and how that has just gone up dramatically over the last 10 years. So we're seeing this much broader adoption, use, and publication within the field of PBPK and PBBM. And of course, the 2022 year in the publication here is a partial year. So no doubt 2022 was a much higher year than 21, and 23 will be the same. And also exciting, we're not just seeing an interest in PBPK within the literature. We're seeing specifically an emphasis on special populations and unique use cases like pediatric use cases or special populations or pregnancy outside of sort of normal healthy groups and adult groups. And so the ability to use PBPK and then also extrapolate to unknown circumstances is just exploding. We're also seeing in this field a number of draft guidances, workshops, and regulatory happenings. And the exciting thing is these aren't just happening sort of in the traditional clinical PBPK applications. They're starting to happen more and more in the bioequivalence and biopharmaceutics areas, thinking about things like safe space and bioequivalence. And so we're really seeing meetings, guidances, things that are happening left and right. And I think what it really is sort of the maturity of PBPK and PBBM from a nice to have into the mainstream as a must have. And we've kind of hit that turning point now. And so you're going to see a number of talks around some of these regulatory issues today and tomorrow. In addition, we're seeing within PBPK a lot of non-oral dosing routes being focused on. I know us at Simulations Plus, but a lot of others as well. Ocular, dermal, intramuscular, long-acting injectables. We get so much going on outside of the traditional oral PBPK modeling. That field's exploding. And then lastly, the first in human predictions, moving PBPK back earlier into the process, into the development process, making predictions as early as possible using machine learning and PBPK structures and models. And there's a lot going on in this field. So putting it all together, there's a lot happening. And lucky for all of you, you can find the PBPK as well as PBBM talks in all of the tracks throughout the conference. And so it's going to be an exciting 2 days in this area. You can jump from area to area, and you'll find these talks throughout all of the sessions, including the compound development sessions or that Arlene mentioned. That's more focused on chemicals on day 2. So lots of stuff there. And then last but not least, of course, Simulations Plus, we emphasize and talk a lot about disease modeling or quantitative systems modeling as well. And within this space, we have our emphasis on liver, lung, kidney, also heart, complement, other areas that you'll hear about at the conference. And in this space, I just want to highlight a couple of key items. The first is we're seeing QSP modeling or systems modeling, and I would put toxicology or QST into that as a subgroup. We're seeing that as a whole move into the regulatory side. We're seeing a growth, if you look at this figure here, figure 1, a growth in the number of submissions. 10, 15 years ago, QSP was thought of as a way to sort of think about your mechanisms and your targets, but not really related to the regulatory process. And now we're seeing companies utilize QSP to enable discussions around mechanisms and dose justification, extrapolation to new populations, clinical trial design justifications. So QSP is also really coming onto the scene now from a regulatory perspective. And of course, we know that always brings visibility and impact. So that's exciting. And then just this year, we've seen the passage of the new FDA Modernization Act. And what this really does is allow for the pathway for the toxicity and potentially otherwise testing within drug development using non-animal methods, including organ on a chip type systems. And of course, as many of us know, as modelers, when you're collecting data from these complex systems, you need modeling and simulation tools to extrapolate that to real clinical situations. And so the FDA Modernization Act, again, represents a huge opportunity for QST as well as QSP, to be the bridge between novel in vitro systems that don't require us to subject animals to testing and the clinic. Now, with all these happenings, all the excitement in model-informed drug development, I think one of the things that we believe in at Simulations Plus and are passionate about is we need to train the future. We need to bring more modelers into the fold. And so we put our money where our mouth is in this sense. And we have a University Plus program where we offer our software tools for absolutely nothing, free to academics for research and teaching. So if you're out there, you're an academic, utilize not only our available software licenses, but also our learning services to grow into these tools, to learn them and use them in the future. And we also have great internship and postdoctoral fellowship programs as well. And you're going to see talks throughout this conference that have some academic involvement as well, and see the fruition of this program. And then lastly, if you're looking at this agenda and saying, well, I'm into my career already, but what does model-informed drug development have in store for me? Well, I would say it's an opportunity for an upward career trajectory. If you embrace these tools, if you embrace knowledge and learning in the machine learning, PBPK, QSP, pharmacometric spaces, this is not only an opportunity to help your company move through the pipeline faster, have more success, but it's also an opportunity to forward your own career and to move up the ladder. And so I think, look at it as an opportunity of this conference, maybe as a kickoff to some new career goals where you can learn new skills and new software tools that are going to be important for the future. So with that, I'll just say, I hope everyone enjoys MIDD 2023. And, we hope to also see you next year. Arlene, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Brett, and thank you everyone for getting us started this morning. We'll go ahead and end the session now. So head back into the lobby, look for your regular main sessions, engage with your speakers, and please, if you need any help, send me a chat, Arlene Padron. Thank you, Brett, and let's get started on day one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Let's do it.